But you don't need to be in the ground to ground. You can be in the airplane and be ground. Right. You use every single neuron engagement that has been stitched all over your cells and your body.
Welcome to Coach Soul, the podcast where we explore therapeutic ways to the best versions of ourselves. I'm your host, Steve Hudgins. I'm a licensed professional counselor dedicated to helping you navigate life's challenges. In each uplifting episode, we'll discuss mental health, relationships, self-care, emotional well-being, and personal growth. Join me and with my co-host, Kenya Evelyn, a therapeutic life coach, where sometimes we'll even welcome special guests to our show that share their experience and expertise. So let's embark on this transformative path together and discover a healthier and happier you. Kenya, what a pop of a 4th of July. Fireworks were spectacular as usual. Tulsa here has where they put the fireworks to music. You turn it to an FM station and you're able to coordinate the music with the fireworks. The further the away, the longer the distance it takes. So there's some delay in that. But, it's fortunate that where I sit, I can go half a mile, sit on top of a hill, and it's a seabed of fireworks. Because there are about 4 or 5 communities, cities that I can see, but you see the neighborhood of all these fireworks going off, and just what a celebration of 250 years from freedom. How was your 4th of July?
Oh, it sounds amazing. Us was really great. I mean, the marina close to our house, it just do a fantastic firework, actually. Close to, not necessarily on 4th of July, it was like 2 days before. And then 4th of July, downtown Nashville is music, it's feast, it's all the things. But we also need to deal with a lot of mosquitoes. That's the part that sometimes I would rather just watch on TV than being outside with all that jazz. But it's also it's always so fun and full of creativity and reasons to loosen up, reasons to just ground in the moment and sing and play and dance and fish. My sons did a lot of fishing. Yeah, really beautiful. But we're not here just to regurgitate on 4th of July, are we, Steve? Mm-hmm.
About those mosquitoes, I use a repellent called lavender. I just rub lavender. Of course, it's a calming effect, but lavender repels a lot of insects too. And so oftentimes when you think about that, that's a freedom from being blood sucked, so to speak. And that's what our thoughts do. They suck the life out of us sometimes. Yeah. And so, we talked about freedom, but we need to go a step further. And what is that step further, Kenya, that you were thinking about?
It's, I'm going to pick up on your lavender. Lavender does not work for me. What works for me is peppermint. Peppermint and lavender does not work for my son. What works for him is TerraShield. For my daughter, is a completely different compound. So freedom looks different for every one of us.
Good point.
We have a different scent. Every one of us, and mosquitoes, they are amazing at that. It's like they like your blood. They don't like your blood. They are drawn to certain people more. And it could be the smell. It could be, I can go deep into the health thing of what you're eating, what you're scent. That's not what the podcast is all about. I say that freedom is what being free from what hurts you. And what hurts you is different for each one of us. Or freedom is to come back to the honest truth of who you really, really are. And I cannot tell you how many of women, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go a step deeper and I'm going to do a bold sentence here. I have never met a woman that at some point in her life did not look in the mirror and said, I don't recognize the woman in the mirror. There's a certain point in life where identity gets so confused with reality and you become the expectations of the others or the thing you needed to become to be a good mom or a good wife or the CEO, and then you're really in your masculine or you're really not. And the moment that you see yourself and you claim it, even though nothing happened, but you claim it, that's the moment of freedom. And it's
Kenya, just like we started with the podcast, you know, this may work for me, this may work for you, and oftentimes I feel like maybe that's where we put ourselves in the prison, because people often believe comparison is motivation. And comparison quietly becomes one of the fastest ways to lose peace, because the human mind, we weren't designed to constantly measure personal worth against curated versions of someone else's life. And that sparked a memory or a thought when you said, hey, she goes and looks in the mirror, right? And so to me, when you think about social comparison, what does it do? It slowly teaches people to view their own existence through deficiency.
So let's just embrace. Can we just embrace? I'll take a breath. Because there's a part of me that can easily pass judgment on everybody. But not like I pass judgment on myself. Okay? In order to compare, I would have to be feeling already less than. You just don't see something and say, oh, she's great, I'm not. So that which is the voice in your head is the voice of trauma that in that moment came back to visit, as you call the splinter. So when we come back to this moment right here, we're not dancing with the past anymore. I know I am not. Can I just speak so boldly in declaration? I refuse to be in the past. I only take data from the past.
True.
Because anytime that I'm not recharged, and then the default mechanism of my being comes back to visit and take over, like the inner child comes over and take over, and I'm found in a place where I don't have personal power, where God even seems dim and far away, and it goes together, the way I feel and my relationship with God and all those things. So back to your question, Steve, I do believe that the best way that we can claim our freedom and that we can embody it, and that's really the key word, is not how much we'll tell you, it's not exercises, it's not just journaling, decision, one-on-one coaching, therapy. Those are all great tools. But the embodiment is your breath, is you knowing and claiming that your knowing is enough, that God is living and breathing inside of you and for you, and that I'm going to be bold. What if nobody really hurt you? And it's all part of you coming to this point and claim your blessings.
You know, sometimes I think when you think about the psychologically, the human mind, it constantly desperately searches for meaning, especially after tragedy. And, you know, random suffering feels terrifying. And we want clean explanations, because explanations does what? Restores a sense of control. Yet some losses rupture the ability to make simple sense of life. And we struggle in our mind, and we can go into these thoughts where we're also struggling with God. If God is loving, why allow suffering? If God is powerful, why not stop it? And yet those are deeply human questions, but we entrap ourselves too into a world of, well, God is this or that. We put him in a box. But when I think about Christianity, it does not teach that the world is untouched by brokenness. It teaches the opposite, that humanity lives in a fractured world. And the existence of pain is not usually presented in Scripture as evidence that God is absent. It's presented as evidence that creation itself groans under brokenness. And yes, emotions still hurt. But here's the question, you know, what ways can we break out of this brokenness that we feel stuck in sometimes? And we go into this deep despair. We look into the mirror and we're like, who created this?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to go back to courage. Because when you have the courage to say, perhaps everything that I was told wasn't truth. Perhaps the truth is bigger. How about that? The truth is bigger than what I was told. I don't need to be right for somebody else to be wrong. Can you imagine a world like this? Can you imagine a family like this, a round table where everybody can have different opinions and live in their own perception? For me, this is the ultimate reflection of love and respect. And I'm not saying that there are a million truths, but what I'm saying is that love united us all. And if we cannot do this to parts of ourselves, we can definitely not do that to others. So I can sit and tell you, oh, I'm going to give you tips. Hey, come to my workshop. I can give you tips all day long. You can sit on a 3-day workshop, leave changed because now you have new information. But if you don't have the courage to embody it, and the way you embody is changing your behavior, then you just have more information. Then you can just turn off this podcast because it's just going to be information for you.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, please go ahead and have courage to see you.
But Kenya, courage is reserved for those who are strong. How am I going to find courage in the despair that I'm in, that my world is so heavy, that I'm so exhausted from having courage? What do you say to people that have that kind of a response there, that they're tired and they don't know where to find that courage to be able to break themselves from the freedom of their thought?
Yeah. If you are listening to the podcast, you cannot see that my hands are open because I see you and I feel the weight in your field. And that weight doesn't belong to you. When the person says, I hear your words, but I'm out of choices here. I want to say to you, that's why you are listening. If you're still listening to us, it's because you believe that courage exists, even though it's out there somewhere for the strong ones. Got it. But Steve and I don't attract people that don't believe in themselves. If you're listening, you know that you're meant for more. You know that there's a part of you that feels, that wants to break free. And I'll tell you more, that knows that you are not your reality, that this is a construct of patterns that you are ready, you just don't know how. So I'm going to tell you to surrender the how and just use your words like God did to create the world. And it sounds like this. I don't understand. I don't feel strong. It's very different than I am not strong. Okay? I don't feel strong. I don't understand. I surrender the how and I invite God to show me.
Okay, Kenya, we're going to do a reminder.
Okay.
Because you taught me this.
Of
and
course.
I am very appreciative because it's working in therapy. We get stuck in the how. I call it a brain paralysis of thought when we go into, how are we going to do this? And I know listeners and viewers that when we think about how, yeah, I sometimes get in the thought paralysis of the how. So what ways can we break from our thought processes that hold us hostage?
Move your body.
Yeah.
Now say that again. If you feel a person that feels that have no personal power, that is being beat down, maybe your husband's being taunting you and it's the voice of your dad or your mom, or maybe it's your wife, or maybe it's your son, or maybe it's yourself. If you go for a walk any time of the day and you bring the thought of lightness, bring the thought of, or maybe you even cry. You don't try to micromanage your thoughts. You just literally move your body because trauma lives in your body and so does energy. Joy lives in your body and so does grief. Anger lives in, it's not out there. And so does courage. And courage, guess what? Courage doesn't feel like fight. Courage is the neutrality. Courage actually is neutrality, is the frequency of it's okay. I can do this. the thought of hope. That's it. That's neutrality. That's it. So if you feel really stuck in your head, you need to be in your body. I'll say it again. How do you be in your body? Move your body in any way. If you're in your desk, maybe you go to the bathroom, do some squats. I'm not joking. You do jumping jacks for yourself. Or if you have access, if you're in your house, go take your shower and put water in your head. That is why 9 out of 10 of people that are stuck, they have an idea, they have a breakthrough taking a shower. Why do you think so? That water just literally creates a completely energetic field in your body, in your aura, and you come up fresh. It's not just that you refresh with cold water or warm water. It doesn't need to be a cold plunge, y'all. Like, don't overcomplicate this. It's a reset. If you don't have access to a shower, wash your hands, put cold in your hands, put in your face, put on your neck. You would be so surprised when life is hard. We disembody. This is not woo. This is science. You can see. Steve could see in my eyes. He could see in a client's eyes. Your body's here, but you're not here because being here is painful. And I got you. I see you. I'm validating you. I'm not telling you don't feel. I'm telling you feel. But your feelings are not the truth.
Right.
They are the reality of how you're feeling. I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling grief. I'm feeling disempowered. If you want to change that feelings to more like clarity and truth, be in your body.
It's funny. I was chuckling when you said, go take a shower type thing. And I'm like, I don't like cold water, but you make sense. When I was in college, we went on a spring break trip. There was 2 guys who were like, what do you call them? Naturists. So they understand the preservation of the wild and things like that. And we drove from Oklahoma City to Sayre, Oklahoma. Now, Sayre is flat. And I'm like, how do you find 7 miles of caves underneath a flat place of land? And so we went through the mud, the bats and everything else. And we're coming out. It's nice and warm and sunny. And we're muddy. And they said there is a stream just around where we just camped. Water's coming out of the cave. That's how you go take a shower. And I'm just, exposed to the world, taking a shower. And I tell you what, that was the best shower ever because you're out in nature. You're being grounded. You may not have that luxury. And I don't say go out in public and do this. I'm saying go out where nobody's around. If there's a cow, great. They'll move for you, type thing. But it's that grounding experience that oftentimes we forget about grounding. And when you're trapped in these thoughts, there's a park that's not too far from me that I enjoy walking because there's a lot of trees and it provides a lot of shade. But yeah, there's 3 levels of pathways that you can walk. But just being around trees and walking and listening to them running water, those type of things is what often helps us to ground. And in Kenya, I think sometimes we forget about telling our audience and viewership that we need some grounding sometimes when our thoughts get the best of us.
100%. So, Steve, if you just found our podcast, you didn't hear that we're all about coming back to the essence of who you are. And we're dirt because we believe that God created us and actually mold us. And he put his spirit, his breath on us. So just going outside and putting your feet on the ground, within 5 seconds, it shifts your bloodstream. But let's say that you were in an apartment and you don't have access to the ground at the moment you're spinning. I got you. It's called visualization. You close your eyes and you transport yourself to the beautiful moment, Steve, that you had your best shower of your life. That natural spring from the cave, from the rock. That's Steve's memory. Yours might be completely different. Might be, that time where I was playing in my backyard and I was 7. pick up a moment that just opens up the groundness. Or it could be just yesterday that you walked the dogs and you took your shoes off. But you don't need to be in the ground to ground. You can be in the airplane and be grounded. Right. You use every single neuron engagement that has been stitched all over your cells and your body. And this is my invitation to play with this technology that you have been given. I'm giving you an invitation and I'm giving you permission. For those of us that love God and grew up in church and have a bunch of religious things to decompress, to decode, to rewire, I spent 10 years decompressing, decoding, rewiring from religion. And I tell you what, the place that I am at is such a place of freedom because God created everything. It wasn't someone else, you guys. It was not. So the rocks, the energetics, God is the CEO of all of it in creation. For him be the glory. Everything that has breath, praise God. You have breath. Your dog have breath. The plant has breath. Everything has breath. It vibrates. And my invitation for you is to play with this technology. Right? 4th of July, we're talking about our cell phones and technology and how to be more present. That is outside technology. Our body is the one antenna that has everything. So again, the thought that's coming to my mind is that sweet person, that beautiful human being that is feeling gray right now. It's feeling heavy. Kenya, how? Now we talk about surrendering the how. And I'm telling you, if you would to call in the version of you that is playful, call in the 7-year-old version of you and say, hey, how would you move right here? Can you please move? Can you please take over? And it might be one song in the dark where nobody sees it with you moving that shifts your entire being into possibility. Play with your body technology. Play with sounds. Play with your cells, play with water, play with shower, play and pray. That's my invitation. And quite honestly, let us know in the comments how much fun you're going to have because it's fun. Life is meant to be light and fun. However, Steve, there's no growth or birth without contraction and expansion.
You know, when you think about freedom, we have the power to set ourselves free. And the freedom comes with that courage you said to challenge these thoughts and thinking. And one of the things that I want us to really hone in on is that social media has a way to provoke emotion without process of thought. Think about that for a moment. Oftentimes we engage with the emotion first for what we see, and we get stuck in that emotion because that's what we have felt in the past. And we don't think about, hey, this is propaganda. This is evoking my emotion. This is not true. I need to challenge myself and my way of thinking. It is time for us to be able to start challenging our own thoughts, things that come into our vision. For example, when I think about what stops us in our tracks is when I was in the military, we would have to run a 2-mile time run, and it's based upon age. Now, I had to run a 2-mile in 15 minutes. And on Fort Hood, there's this one section of flat land for a mile. We'd run down to one end and run back the other end. Now, starting off, I'm doing great. Coming back, my mind played with me, that's too far of a run. And so my time slowed down. I still made it, but I remember. But here's the thing, we're not alone. When I went through leadership class to get my next rank, my LT came along beside me and ran with me. and I listen to his voice to keep me on track, on pace. That's why we sing cadence in the military when we run, so that we stay on pace and on track. So for today, we're hoping and praying that as you listen to this podcast and as you view it, that you listen to the cadence of Kenya and I's voice to help you to stay on track. Kenya, any closing comments?
I'm proud of you. I'm speaking to the version of you that is there, that is alive, that is allowing all this juice, all this passion to flourish, because there is no freedom but in the now. It's not one day, it's today. It's not when this happened, then it's right now. So I'm just so proud of your courage, because I'm calling it in. I'm calling in what I see in you, the passion that I see, the gifts that I see, the love that I see, the hope that we see, that you have witnessed, that I myself and Steve, with your permission, Steve, that we have on a daily basis conquer the voices in our heads to show up and to show up again and to create again. And to believe again, and to know that our only state is a state of freedom and is a state of love by design, because God is here. And I love you, and I see you, and I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that, Kenya, so much, because that goes in alignment of my book that was just released called The Family Mask. And, we learn how to wear masks and not be authentic. I'm not saying hide your mask, put it away, throw it away. I'm just saying, what if we live in authenticity? Yes, sometimes we need those masks to put on, but I'm saying courage is becoming free enough that other people no longer have to shrink, hide, or wear a mask around you. Because oftentimes the strongest people in the room are rarely the loudest. They are the ones whose freedom gives everyone else permission to breathe.
Themselves. Yes. Woof.
And so in the end, courage is not about domination. It's about becoming safe enough that truth no longer has to whisper. And that's where I've learned how to be content and be authentic. And so I encourage you to go out and buy my book on Amazon, The Family Mask. And so until next time, take care and God bless.
So much love.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on Coach Soul. As we wrap up, we want to remind our listeners of a few key points. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The content shared here is based on professional opinion but may not apply to everyone's situation. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your mental health care. If you're in a crisis, please seek immediate professional help or contact a crisis hotline. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapist-client relationship. For personal advice, please consult with your licensed mental health professional in your area. Remember, your mental health journey is unique. While we hope this information is helpful, it is crucial to work directly with the qualified personnel for your specific needs. Thank you again for tuning in to Coach Soul, and we'll see you next time.